Do you like food?
How about you? Do you enjoy food?
I'm food.
What and why is food? This video is gonna be about food.
This video is brought to you by.
So the topic for this week's video is gonna be about fasting. So how we came about with this topic was because for me, sometimes there are days when I'm in a rush and like for instance when my school starts at 8 a.m. and I'm trying to clock in a workout right before school starts, and because of this sometimes I'm in a hurry. I might skip my breakfast and not even consume anything before my workout. So then what went through my mind was that would there be any benefit to training in such a manner, and if so, what are the correct ways in which I can carry out my workout, and if not, are there any dangers in training in that particular manner?
Okay, for me, I don't usually have a fixed time I start my day, but I prefer to always have some food in me before I go for my activities, be it running or be it school. Previously, when I was weight training, I had a heavier meal of about 6 egg whites, maybe a peanut butter sandwich. But now, as I'm doing more endurance activities, I keep my breakfast smaller to maybe just consist a granola bar or a peanut butter sandwich. Yes.
So now let's see what the science has to say about that.
Okay, so just a disclaimer, I'm a 3-star decorated healthcare professional, but Jeremiah is not. So background information, before we dive right in, let me share a bit of information. Carbohydrates are the main source of energy when doing endurance activities, and this is attained through the food we eat and is stored in our bodies as glycogen. So however, during long endurance activities, these stores may be depleted, and many runners often face great fatigue at this point, which is what likely gives rise to the phenomenon runners like to refer to as hitting the wall. So during which the source of energy will be attained through the oxidation of fat in our body. So after all the glycogen is used, the body will start to use fat as an energy source. So on this basis of knowledge, there are a group of people that believe training right after a long night of sleep, where most of the glycogen will be depleted, helps to train the body to combat against hitting the wall, as it trains the body to be more efficient at utilizing fat as their source of energy. We have done our best to compile what we have found on this topic, and the research papers that we have found will be linked in the description. So, can you tell us more about the research that we have found?
Okay, so one of the studies that I would like to share with you all would be about how this study that was conducted among trained cyclists and triathletes who have been training for more than 3 years. So they separated the athletes into two groups. So one group performed under a low glycogen state, while the other were trained in a fed state.
Okay.
So for the fed group, they were training 6 days a week with one rest day, and their training alternated between doing steady state aerobic exercises of 100 minutes as well as a high interval training session the following day. The experimental group, or the low glycogen state group, trained twice a day, performing the same steady state aerobic training in the morning, and waited 2 hours without being given any carbohydrate intake during the 2-hour break, and then proceeding on to do the high interval training.
So no food in between?
No food in between. Okay. So what they found was that the group that trained with low glycogen storages, i.e. the group that trained twice a day, had an increase in body fat oxidation during submaximal exercise, i.e. to say that there was an increase in the usage of fat as fuel for the exercise. Okay. However, one thing to note from this study is that both groups did not have a significant difference in their 60-minute time trial. It was also mentioned how the low glycogen group had a lower power output during their higher intensity sessions for the first six sessions. So what this study shows is that there are possible benefits that may arise whenever you train in a fasted state. So, but on the other hand, it should be noted that although you may be experiencing some physiological adaptations, such as being able to oxidize fat at a greater efficiency. On the other hand, the amount of power that you can output would be severely affected, as seen in this study. So the way we see it is that training in a fasted state is a give and take, where you may gain in some ways, but on the other hand, you may lose in some ways.
In short,
Hello, it's me from the future, and I'll be voicing over the conclusion due to some audio issues. So from what we have found, it seems that training in a fasted state does have some benefits in the world of endurance. However, the scientific literature is limited insofar that it is still uncertain of the exact protocol of the duration of the fasted training, as well as the level of depletion one should be in order to elicit the benefits as stated in the study. There is still a lot science has yet to discover. But for those who, due to necessity, train under a low glycogen state, it seems that the occasional skipping of a pre-workout meal may not be harmful to your fitness, but it may affect the quality of your harder sessions. Personally, I would not advise anyone to do any high-intensity exercise in a fasted state, as problems such as fainting and nausea may arise due to the high demand of the activity.
So I hope you learned something from today's video and are more educated about the benefits and disadvantages of fasting.
and the advantages.
And the disadvantages.
And the advantages?
And the disadvantages.
Okay.
Comment down below what you think. Comment down below your birthday
And your debit card number
and your password.
the 3 weird numbers at the back.
Comment down below. Smash like.
Okay.